And so today we're going to get started sitting in Virasana if you would like. So you can take a block and put it between your feet, like I've got mine between my feet. Bring your knees together and have a seat. If this feels a little intense, you can raise your block or you can just sit cross-legged. Take your thighs and spiral them inward. And then let your hands rest on the tops of your thighs. Maybe even just a couple of times pushing a little bit to see if you can feel this reverberation up the body. And try to ground down through your sit bones and feel your center come online. Eyes can close, they can remain open. And check in with what settles you today, what feels grounding for you today. And we had a really beautiful theme planted this morning around how do we metabolize the past? How do we, quote unquote, let it go? Or what is it we do with the past so that we can move forward towards our future? So if that resonates for you, you might work with that theme. And so we're going to work with the back body a little bit to represent like how we might allow ourselves to be supported. So I want you to feel for your shoulder blades, and I want you to gently imagine a benevolent hand on your back, gently pressing the back of your heart towards the front of your heart. And feeling for the support behind you that allows you maybe to open out in front of you. I often think about the metaphor of driving our car. It's like life. For the most part, we have to be looking forward. For sure, we've got to check the rear view mirrors once in a while. We need to know what's happening behind us and in our past. But if we're only looking behind us, we're going to crash. And so just check in with yourself. Are you just been in that rear view mirror lately so you can't move forward, right? Are you refusing to look in the rear view mirror? And just feel for your own relationship with your past and the future. And that this practice is really about figuring out how to be in present time. Not replaying the past, not constantly anticipating the future, but grounded in the present, integrated with our past, and visioning our future. And so maybe in your body start to feel into that possibility, right? Feeling that back body moving in towards the midline, right? The front body moving in towards the midline so everything draws to center. So that we can be connected to the central axis and in right relationship with the future and the past. And take a few deep breaths here. The breath moving up and down the spine, up and down the midline. Good. Part of what we get to practice on our mats and the way that I see our practice is we get to practice how we want to show up in the rest of our lives. Practice it when the stakes are low so that we have that muscle memory so we can face things when the stakes are high, embodying things a little differently. So you might be working with something specific right now, practicing embodying in relationship to that. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. Don't ruminate about the thing. Try to stay in your sensations. So from here, let's just take a gentle neck roll. Take the right ear to the right shoulder, chin to your chest. The left ear to left shoulder. And come back to chin to chest. And then look forward. Release the arms, fingertips extend away from you. Gotta really work your centering muscles here. Good, and take your left arm up, right fingertips to the floor or to your block. Reach up, maybe over. And I want you to feel yourself leaning back a little bit and then imagining a wall behind you or this benevolent hand supporting you. So we're in right relationship with the back body, with what's behind us. We want to let our past actually, as we integrate it, allows us to really deeply move forward, allows us to be more wise. And then come on up and switch sides. One of the definitions of healing from trauma or difficulty that I really appreciate is that when we can allow ourselves to be transformed by difficulty, we're never going to be who we were before, whatever, right? But who can we be on the other side? We're going to be different. And sometimes that's really hard. And sometimes our healing gets stopped because we don't want things to change. We don't want to be impacted by those things. And we need to surrender a little bit. Good, and then slowly come on up and release. Take your hands on your thighs, round your back, chin to chest. On the inhale, pull the elbows back and lift your heart. But take a few more of these. One more. Good, and then pause here for a moment. So if you want to try this, I'm going to invite us to do 3. We're going to lift up. This is really good for the knees, and it can be grounding. If it feels like too much, I want you to stay right here, okay? You're going to push into your shins and come on up, and then slowly come on down. You can do up to 5 of these, and you'll feel your quadriceps working. And this can be a way to really ground our energy here. I get a lot of snap, crackle, pops when I do this. Good, maybe one more. All right, let's remove the block. Release your legs out in front of you. Massage out your knees here. Rotate your ankles around. And let's make our way onto our backs. Have a block nearby. That's what's going to come in handy a little bit later. So on your back here, I know this before I get still, I need to like arch and curl my spine a little bit and maybe let my knees go side to side, feet stay wide. So it's like you're just gently like lulling your body into a still pose for a moment. And then let your feet be wide, let the knees fall in together, hands on your body wherever they want to be. And once again, we're going to bring our attention to our back body and to the way that the floor is supporting us. See if you can feel for that. And maybe as you allow yourself to be supported, you might feel a sense of being able to open in the front body. Right? But we've got to feel supported if we're going to let go a little bit. And notice your breath here. Invite the breath to deepen just a little bit on the inhale and to be a little more complete on the exhale. And then gently hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. And holding the knees, circle them around a couple of times in each direction. And let's take a twist. Drop your knees to the left. If you want to put a block between your knees, that can be nice. Right arm reaches. So this decreases the intensity a little bit. Find a place to take a few breaths. Feeling this relationship between all the ways that we create support in the body and how that gives us opportunities to release and let go. And then back through center to the other side. And I'm going to use my block a little differently here because my arm, I've got a shoulder issue. I'm going to use my block to give support. So again, when we give support, then there can be a letting go, right? We can start to unwind from the old stories and start to build a new narrative. One of my favorite definitions of trauma is that trauma is a loss of imagination. Trauma traps us in the past, and we can only imagine that things are going to be as they were. We can't imagine things being different, and we recreate that in our bodies and in our lives. And as we metabolize that trauma, as we metabolize our past, as we're able to integrate it and to allow it to be part of our story in a way that's not disruptive, then we can start to tell some new stories, right? And gently come on back to center. Grab your block and let's put the block under the sacrum. If you don't have a block, it's fine. You can stay flat. And again, feet wide, knees together, maybe a little side to side here. So you get into the psoas. And so some of the energy we hold in our bodies is connected to gripping from things in our past, grasping, or even dissociation, right? All the ways, all the things that were necessary for us to survive, all of our survival strategies, when they become outdated, start to become the things that imprison us. Come back to center and let's extend that right leg and bend and straighten the leg a few times. Gabor Mate uses this analogy. He says, if there's a winter and your heater's broken, you put on extra layers of coats, right? But then when summer comes and you don't need them anymore, we keep those coats on. We keep on that protection when it's unnecessary. Then it becomes part of our suffering, right? Go ahead and extend and hold. And so those survival strategies were amazing. They were necessary. You were brilliant to use them. But are you ready to let them go? Good. Point the toe and lower. And lift. We'll do 3 more of these. And so just notice how my words land in your body. If there's resonance, check your sensations. Make sure you don't go to shame, right? We all do this. This is human nature, but healing is also human nature. Rotate your ankle a few times in each direction. Good, and then let's switch sides. Left leg extends and then extend and bend. And so embodied practices can be so healing because they help us figure out how to be comfortable in our own skin so that maybe we can turn to some of those difficult sensations and be with them and release them. But it's not just about embodied practices, y'all. We need community and we need support. That big stuff you shouldn't do alone, right? We also need to feel held. Hold here a moment. So this is one piece, working with your own nervous system. And then we need the relational piece, letting others hold us. And then, of course, we need the social justice piece. We need a world that takes care of everybody. Go ahead and point the toes and lower. 4 of these. Good. Let's extend both legs up. And just notice how you're feeling, what's happening in your body, not just your muscles and your bones, but how's your heart, your gut, right? What's emerging in your mind? Good. Let's do some scissors here, just lowering one leg and then the other. This I think about as a centering practice. Centering is about feeling a sense of power inside yourself, self-determination, and presence. So maybe sometimes we can find it on a muscular level, and that helps us find it emotionally and spiritually, so to speak. I remember when I was younger, my family, my mom and dad used to go to church on Sundays, and I would go exercise on Sundays. I hadn't discovered yoga yet, but I would say to them, exercise is my church. It's what gets me present, right? It's what gets me in the moment, allows me to be a better person. And I was exercising in community. Good. And then from here, let's release the feet down and extend those legs. If you want to reach the arms overhead, go ahead. And then hug your right knee into your chest. You might feel a stretch at the top of the left hip. You can also bend that left leg if this is too much. And then switch sides. Left knee and right leg extends as much as you want. Good. Good, and then release, extend one more time, one big stretch. All right, feet to the floor. Push down into your feet and lift your hips. Slide your block aside. Arms overhead. Let's lower down one vertebrae at a time and sweep the arms down. And then repeat that, reverse it, lift up, articulating the spine. And come on down. And then just pause here a moment, let your body settle. And then we're going to take the block again. You could use a pillow here. And we're going to put the block between the inner thighs. I'm going the narrow way. And this is meant to just help us, again, find our midline, find center. I don't want you to aggressively squeeze the block. It's just a hugging in. Gently press your feet into the floor. And just find that hugging of the midline. And if this is hard to find, just take some weight off your feet a little bit for a moment, and then you might feel your low belly muscles here. And let the shoulder heads be heavy. In fact, wiggle your shoulder blades together. I want you to feel that gentle support in the back body. And then we're going to slowly lift the feet up off the floor. Press the knees away from you a little bit, ribs soften. If this feels like too much, keep your feet on the floor, right? Find whichever version connects you to center a little bit more fully. Good. Next option is to interlace fingers and lift your head and shoulder blades up off the floor. And we're just going to stay here and just feel this hugging, not a squeezing or a bracing. Gently hugging the block. Feel your sacrum press into the floor and your ribs move into your body. And breathe. What's it like to be in your center, connected to a nice deep breath? We'll start to add some slow twists here if you like. As inhale, exhale, right shoulder to the left knee. Come on back to center and switch sides. And notice what's happening in your jaw or in your throat. Remember, you want to take breaks whenever you need to, especially if you find yourself bracing or not breathing. Right? How do we use the practice to attune to our bodies? Right? Listen to our bodies, but not take for granted that everything our body says is correct, right? Because sometimes our body is just recreating the past, and we're not actually present to what's happening. Right? That's where these embodied practices allow us to know that. Am I present, or am I just reliving my past right now? Maybe you're done, maybe you do one more to each side. All right, let's bring it down. Block aside. Pause a moment here. From here, let's extend that right leg up again. You can use your strap around the ball of your foot or hold on to the back of the leg. So we've done some grounding, we've done some centering. Now we'll do a little bit of flexibility, then we'll go back to stability. It's often a dance between the two, right? So extending your heel away from your hip, whatever angle your leg is at. Some of you might find that it's interesting to straighten the bottom leg. But if you do so, it's often better to keep the legs at 90 degrees. Don't pull the leg in towards you. That's going to keep your sacrum neutral and thus a little bit more stable. And as you find that first edge, there's an opportunity now to practice being with discomfort as it emerges while staying settled, right? While staying settled. And that means we're connected to our breath, we're in present time, we're not going into a lot of judgment. Maybe we're staying in curiosity, like, that's curious what I'm feeling in the back of my right leg. And we practice it here on our mat, and then we practice it in life, like, oh, that's curious that I'm having this feeling in this moment. Is this a feeling that is useful to me? Is it accurate? Or is it old? And that curiosity can often help us be more discerning. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. One more and then sigh it out. Let's bend that right leg for half happy baby. You can hold on to the back of the knee. You can use your strap or just hold on to the outside of the foot. That left leg can be bent or straight, right? It's going to look different for everybody. And then everybody bend the left leg and cross the right ankle over the left knee. Flex the foot, press the knee away from you. If you're getting a stretch, you'll stay here. If you need more, draw the left leg in towards you. And I want you to find that first edge of sensation. If you go too far, you're just going to be managing, right? We don't actually get to practice embodiment. And if you back off too much, same thing. You'll get kind of bored, maybe float away. So where's just that right amount of sensation? Life doesn't always give us those options of like more or less intensity, right? But in our practice, we can often find just that right amount of intensity. And so we can practice being present with things that are uncomfortable, right? Try it with your hip, then you try it with your childhood, right? We want to try to find a low stakes place to feel it. And for some of you, being in the body doesn't feel low stakes at all, right? And so how can you practice resourcing and backing off and kindness in that as well? Let's take about 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then sigh it out on the last one. Good. Plant your left foot to the floor. Drop your legs over to the left so that right foot's going to land on the floor. And you're going to push down into your foot and press the knee away from you. If your hand reaches your ankle, you can do that. That can be supportive. And the right arm can reach up to the right. And then we'll uncross the legs and do a twist again. Your twist might feel different now. I know I feel a little bit more of a stretch on the outside of my body after all of that. And then come on back to center and let's pause here a moment before we go to the other side. And just notice if the side you just stretched feels a little different. And then extend your left leg, use your strap or hold on to the back of the leg. Find the edge that you can breathe with. It might change, you might go in deeper, but deeper is not the goal. Presence is the goal. Figuring out how to be present without freaking out. That's how I think about my yoga practice. I just don't want to be freaking out. I want to practice presence and feeling settled in my body. I don't care if I can do a big stretch. And so notice what's supporting you. Is it your breath? Is it the earth behind you, beneath you? Is it just even letting my voice hold you, right? For those of you here live, feeling our community, right, that holds us. And sometimes the thing that feels the tightest or the most stuck is the thing that needs our love the most, needs our attention the most, needs our breath the most. Good, now bend that left leg into a half happy baby, again holding the back of the knee or the outer foot or your strap. Right leg can be straight or bent. And then bend the right leg and cross the left ankle over the right knee. Stay here or draw the right leg in towards you. Find the edge that you can breathe with. And the other piece that is often curious for me is how I notice what my habits are when I'm on my mat, right? You can observe yourself, right? That going to the past, that ruminating, that attachment to those stories. Again, no judgment, right? We're attached to them because we're trying to heal them. And so then the question becomes, what do I need to accept so I can move forward? And that's not an easy one, y'all. What do I need to accept? Accept doesn't mean forgive. It doesn't mean make okay. But just accept that happened. And how do I allow that to be a part of my story so I can move forward? I don't know the answers to those things, but those questions sometimes are useful. And sometimes, y'all, if it's something really big, how do we allow something bigger than us to hold it? Have we shared it? Are we connecting to community or God or spirit or nature? Can we let something bigger than us hold it with us so that we can move forward? One more deep breath. Sigh it out. And then release the right foot to the floor and drop your body over to the right. Left foot will get to the floor. Left arm reaches out. Press the knee away from you. Notice what needs your breath here. And then uncross the legs, come back to a twist. See what it feels like here. And then unwind, back to center. All right, let's flip over onto our bellies for Sphinx pose. So flip right over. Elbows under your shoulders. Curl your toes under, spiral your inner thighs to the sky, and then release the toes. And so now we're going to feel this different stance, right? Our bellies to the earth for a moment. See if your heart can expand and move forward through the window of the upper arms. Drop the chin so the back of the neck is spacious. Ground through the arms, ground through the tops of your thighs. And then big breaths here. So how is your nervous system doing, right? I like to think about this practice as a practice for our nervous systems. And then lower down, hands under your shoulders, elbows in. Cobra, 3 of these. Lift up as high or low as you like. And then curl your toes, press up onto hands and knees. Let's sit back into an active child's pose. Opening up those feet. Walk your hands over the right side. Come up onto the fingertips of the left hand. Send the breath into the left rib cage. Come back through center. Walk the hands over to the left side. Come up onto the right fingertips. And then back to center, up onto hands and knees. And let's pause here a moment. So let's find our centering here. So we ground through the hands and the shins. Low belly moves into the body, ribs move into the body, heart extends forward. Again, hug that midline. Maybe the shoulders slide down the back and the sides of the neck get long. And then start to add some movement here. Inhaling, arch, shoulder blades slide down the back. Exhale, round. Shoulder blades slide up the back. So finding that midline also allows us to be more fluid and more flexible, more adaptable, more free. And that to me is what resilience is. It's not about perfection. We are all brilliant and broken. It's about flexibility, self-determination, asking for help when we need it. And then let's circle here through the ribs a few times, through the hips a few times. I always like to say that, resilience, well-being is something we do together. We do it in community. We can't do it alone. There's parts we can do alone, like this, right? Like our practice. But it also has to lead to deeper connections, safe relationships. All right, from here, we're going to extend the right leg back. Good. Find that center again. If you want to reach the left arm forward, go ahead. So this is one where you really do have to find that midline, right? To get balanced. After a few breaths, it gets a little harder. You can always come out of it, or you can stay in it and be curious about what you need to do to stay centered here, grounded here, and supported, and breathing. Two more breaths here. And release it down. Left leg is going to extend, lift it up. I know I have to really use my centering muscles here to not dump into the low back. And then right arm can extend. And then find your breath. Being centered doesn't mean we're perfect, right? It means we can fall and come back, or we can fall and know that we'll be okay, or we can fall and then ask for help, right? One more deep breath and release it down. Good. See what your body wants to do. Maybe you shake your hips side to side. Good. Let's make our way up to standing. Walk your hands back to your knees and just take a forward bend to your feet wide. Knees bend, hold on to your elbows and let your head hang. You want to avoid this if you have some instability in the low back, right? You're better off at a flat back. But if the low back is okay, you can let your hips sway side to side. And then release those arms, bend your knees, and roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Adjust yourself. And then just pause here for a moment. We're at the back of the mat. One hand on heart, one hand on solar plexus. And just take a moment to feel here this standing stance, right? I often think here about how humans, we're the only animals that greet the world with our most vulnerable parts, with our hearts and our bellies, right? We have the slithering creatures, hands and knees creatures, right? The slumped over creatures. And we're like, hey world, here I am, right? So we feel both the power and the beauty of that and the deep vulnerability of that. And then again, how are we integrating our past so that it can open us up towards the future while staying deeply present? And so inhale, let your arms reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more, inhale, arms rise. Exhale. Take your legs wide, so you're going to turn like I am. Take your legs wide, heels in, toes out, bend your knees. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart. And on the inhale, open the arms wide, shoulder blades draw together. Exhale, pull the hands back to your heart. So 2 more of these. One more. Good. Straighten the legs, parallel your feet, hands on hips. Pause a moment. From here, I'm going to invite you to swivel to your right. So you have the right knee in front of you and the left leg back, or swivel in whatever direction you want. Take your feet so they're hip distance apart so that you feel stable and grounded. We'll start with hands on hips to set it up. Back knee is bent And then again, find midline, right? We're not here, right? Ribs puffed, right? Booty out. We're finding the middle. We're finding the middle. And you can take breaks whenever you want. Bring your arms into cactus here, and then just extend and bend that back leg without losing your midline. Feel your back body. And then if you want to start to add the arms, you can extend the arms open and then pull the elbows in. One more. Good. Now right hand to the thigh, left arm up, lean over to your right a little. You can do whatever you want with that back leg, whatever feels good. And then come on back to center, arms reach up, 3 circles with the arms. Good. Step your back leg in a little and straighten the front leg for pyramid. Imagine plugging your feet into the ground. Arms wide as you inhale. Take them behind you. You can bring one palm on top of the other or go to reverse prayer. Try to imagine pulling your feet towards each other, and then again, find your midline. Let the heart lift. Deep inhale, and then right hip pulls back as you come forward. So we're really working that back body here, the shoulder blades together. Feeling this connection between the back and the front and the midline. Have a sense that you're really standing on your legs right now. And breathing, present in your body without judgment. That can be tough. One more deep breath. And press into your feet to come up. Swivel back to the middle. Adjust for a moment. And then just pause. Let's just check in with that. And then turn in the other direction. Left leg forward, right leg back. Widen your feet so they're hip distance apart. So we're always trying to find grounding first. Hands on hips. Or actually, let's do this. Palms up, shoulder heads back. Again, find the middle. Find your middle. Everything moving in. And then extend and bend. Extend and bend. Left hand to thigh, right arm up, lean towards your left. I always like to keep my back knee a little bent here because then get a little bit more into the psoas. Come on back to center, reach those arms. Good. We didn't really do this part, so let's do a couple of these using the arms up and down just to be even. And then from here, take a backstroke. And then arms reach up for a moment. Step your back leg in, plant those feet. Inhale, arms wide, take them back. Find your middle. Sometimes that lets us open our hearts a little bit more. Deep breath, and then left hip pulls back. So what's the quality of presence you want to cultivate in your life? Try it on your mat, right? This is like a dress rehearsal, right? We create these ritual spaces, these embodied spaces. So we try it on, right? And then we see how much can we keep it in our lives. It's not going to be perfect, trust me. If I could be who I was on my mat in my whole life, oh my God, I'd be so enlightened. All right, 2 more breaths. And then press down to come up. Let's swivel to the front again. Bring your legs a little closer. And then just pause. Shake your shoulders out a little bit. And shake out your legs. And just feel whatever you need to shake off, right? Anything that's not serving you anymore. I just get the image of a dog, like shaking that water off, right? Just shake it off. It's not mine, I don't need it. It's old. Shake it off. This might feel really silly, but try it. You never know. All right, and then pause a moment. One hand on heart, one hand on solar plexus. Send the breath through your body. Let the breath wash through you. All right, now we have one more standing pose. So take the legs wide again. Pause here a moment. Arms go out. Turn your right leg in and your left toes in, and then bend that right knee. This is warrior 2. Wrap the left arm behind you and take a gentle side stretch here. So we drop down so we can lift up. And then on the inhale, come on out and extend. Hand or forearm to thigh. Maybe you roll the chest open. You can let the head go here. And then make some funny faces. Release your jaw. Sometimes we need to interrupt those masks that we wear, right? Like, what's your mask? I'm fine, I'm fine. Or is it like resting bitch face, right? Just disrupt it a little bit. Release the top arm. You can reach it straight up or over the ear. And let the whole pose expand. 2 more breaths here. Slowly come on up. Straighten the leg, parallel your feet. Switch sides, turn the left leg out and the right toes in, and then bend that left knee. Wrap the right arm behind you, gentle side stretch. And then come on up and extend out, hand or forearm to thigh. Roll the chest open, maybe you let your head go. I always imagine emptying my head out of all my thoughts. Some research shows that like 90% of our thoughts are thoughts we've already had. They're not that useful. Just repetitive. And then release that top arm. It can reach straight up or over the ear. And then let's press up to standing. Parallel your feet. Let's bring the legs in and have a seat. Whew. You can sit on a pillow here, which would be kind of nice. I have a sparkly pillow. Look at that. And let's bring the bottoms of the feet together and the knees apart. You can have your hands behind you or hold on to your ankles, whatever supports you, right? Some of you might want to lean forward a little bit. Just find a place to take a few breaths and start to settle your nervous system. So let the chin drop a little bit. Notice your connection to your breath now. All right, and then slowly come up, release your legs. We're going to make our way towards final relaxation, so slowly come onto your backs for a moment, and then you'll have lots of options for how to get into this pose, but I want to counter pose here for a moment. Hug your knees into your chest and rock a little side to side. And as you're rocking, make sure your head is going too, right? Like sometimes the neck gets stiff and we hold on there. Kind of like how you'd rock a baby, right? Just that gentle rocking that can allow some settling. And then holding the knees, circle them around 2 or 3 times in each direction. This can feel like a little massage for your low back. And then we're going to set up for final relaxation pose. If being on your back is relaxing, you can stay here with your knees bent. You can put a pillow behind your knees. You kind of need a bigger one. The other thing you can do is put a pillow on you, just to offer just a little like safety, protection, holding. If it's not settling for you to be on your back like this, lay on your side, right? You can put a pillow between your knees. You might also find that it feels better to sit in meditation. So this is just about finding a position that feels supportive in your body. Your legs can be up on a chair or couch as well. And take your time finding whatever feels good for you. I'm going to be right here. Hands can be on the body or alongside the body. And your eyes can be open or closed. It really is about finding what is settling for you. And again, I'm going to invite you to feel for all the areas in your body that are being held or supported. Focus on the support, right? The parts of your body touching the floor or the wall if you're sitting against a wall or a chair. And when you feel into those places that are being held, notice if anything settles, releases, or becomes a little bit more spacious. And honor anything that is still holding on. That's okay too. I'm going to hold us here for about 1 more minute. You can always stay here as long as you like. Just to the best that you can, allow your body to settle, allow your nervous system to feel a little bit more integrated, a little bit more whole. See if you can feel for that. When you're ready, begin to deepen your breath. Move your fingers and your toes. And bend your knees and roll over to your side if you were laying on your back. And whatever way you want. Let's come up to seated position. And then just take a moment here to pause and feel the effects of your practice. Notice if you're inhabiting your body a little bit differently. If there's something in particular you really want to anchor for yourself so that you can allow yourself to inhabit your life a little bit differently. Maybe more grounded, more centered, a little kinder. Let's bring our hands to prayer at our hearts.